We continue with our race action. Heat 1B, the U7 paddock pools will be driven by Jerry Hopp. From Indiana, it's Todd Yarling. In the U11, US West Cellular, the Miss Northwest U85 is Jack Schaefer Jr. The U31 Circus Circus, Chip Hanauer. Also the U146 Speed Sport Limited, driven by Steve David of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and the U9 Sun Deck, Mark Evans, the driver.
Out of this 10-race season, if you only win the Gold Cup, you've had a successful year. It's the most prestigious trophy in powerboat racing. Let's go down to the pits and Dick Crippen. Dick?
When you talk about Gold Cup, the name Chip Hanauer follows it without any hesitation whatsoever. It has been more or less a monopoly for you.
We've been pretty lucky the last 7 years, and it feels good. I originally wanted to win 1 Gold Cup. That was my goal as a child, and to have 7, I find it still kind of hard to believe.
But you're the guy they're gunning for out here now, and this course last year was not a good friend.
No, this course has been feast or famine for us. I have won Gold Cups here in the saltwater with a turbine, and everything went well, but it's about the only time in recent history that this course has been kind to me.
And now the start of Heat 1B, and the only man there on time is that man, Chip Hanauer in the Circus Circus. Dick, 158+ mile an hour in qualifying. That's the fastest any man has ever gone on any body of water in the unlimited history.
And again, we remind all the viewers that we're talking about 2 straightaways and, in essence, 4 turns. So there are no banks on those turns. In order to hit that kind of a speed, he's got to hit about 200 miles an hour or more on the straightaways. A great ride for Chip Hanauer. Another thing we can point out, we talked earlier in Heat 1A about the redesign of the cowlings on the Miss Budweiser and the Jif Presents Mr. Pringles. This is the same cowling they've been running with all year long on the Circus Circus. This boat running again, the second time this year for Easter Seals, the U146 Stephen David. Great shot of the Circus Circus, but you can see how he nailed the start, had his nose of the hydroplane on the start line when the final second ticked off. A flying start at upwards of 200 miles an hour. He left everybody else literally in his wake.
It's a credit to the crew of the Circus Circus as the boat we're looking at. You can remember in Syracuse, I thought it would never be repaired. Uh-oh, we have a problem now with US West Cellular. Todd Yarling has a problem. His turbine goes quiet. He's dead in the water.
That's the second turbine to be affected by the salt water today. The Winston Eagle affected in the first heat. Here's the Miss Easter Seals. Stephen David out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is the second time this year they have run the boat for the Easter Seals Society. They also ran it in Madison, Indiana, and at that time, there were a lot of the youngsters came down to visit the driver.
We have a battle going on for 3rd place. It's Midmark Distributors on the inside. On the outside, Jack Schaefer Jr. in the Miss Northwest, and Jack Schaefer takes the lead.
Great driving by Jack Schaefer Jr., who's got a long bloodline into unlimited hydroplane racing through his dad. There you can see that shot. Jack Schaefer just powers on down the straightaway and takes over 3rd place. So in the lead, it's the Circus Circus boat with Chip Hanauer. 2nd place, Miss Easter Seals, Stephen David of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 3rd place now, the Miss Northwest, the boat coming head on into your screen there. Jack Schaefer Jr. Right behind him is Midmark Distributors, Jerry Hopp, the driver, and we close in on that boat. Here's 2nd place, Stephen David, who's a real estate agent and actually owns a couple of Century 21s down in the Fort Lauderdale area.
Chip Hanauer looks like he's going for a Sunday drive with the family. As he's way out in front in smooth water, he'll pick up 400 important points to qualify for the final. The checker flag is out. Chip will get 400 points for 1st place in his first competition action of the day here in Heat 1B.
Congratulations to Chip Hanauer, who fantastic view there of Mission Bay, San Diego, California, and the several 100,000 that are on hand to watch the Gold Cup competition for unlimited hydroplanes. Heat 1B, Circus Circus the winner, followed by Miss Easter Seals and the Midmark Distributor. The rest of the boats did not finish. Let's go to the pits and Mark Spencer.
Chip Hanauer 1 down, 3 to go.
Yeah, there wasn't, a very competitive heat. The competition was with the saltwater, and if we could finish, and we did that, so we feel okay.
Before the race, you were sort of downplaying the importance of going for your 8th Gold Cup. Now that you got a heat win under your belt, any butterflies starting to develop?
No, there's no butterflies, no more butterflies for this race than any other race. I want to win this race as bad as I do any other, but there's no point in really thinking of the significance of the Gold Cup or the 8th streak right now. I just worry about the next heat and just take the day as it comes. It's going to be a long one.
We're preparing for our next heat of racing, but as we do, there's been a lot of talk about turbines on the circuit this year, and there is more coming in 1990.
One of the hardest working owners on the Unlimited Tour has to be Jim Harvey. You can see he's in uniform. He works right with his crew. Next year, I understand, the old boy Alberto just might go faster.
Well, we've made a purchase of 8 turbines shortly after the Seattle race, and we're looking forward to the change. It may not be a complete change. We may also keep this boat for saltwater races.